A motorized vert buggy is a useful piece of equipment in the tank building industry that dramatically improves the safety of the workers and provides a means to increase productivity and expand efficiency when building oil storage tanks. Knowing how to correctly operate the buggy, with safety as the focal point during operation, will ensure that you and your coworkers can complete the work, successfully allowing you to go home in the same condition that you came to work. Let's go over a few important points.
Safe operation of the vert buggy actually starts at the equipment warehouse where the buggy is inspected to ensure that it is running properly and then is carefully loaded onto the truck for transportation to the job site. At the start of each shift and before operating the buggy, ensure you perform a thorough inspection. You will need to have your inspection checklist handy. Go through each of the inspection points to identify cracks in the welds, bent frame, chain condition, and mobility of the square tubing sliding mechanism. Check to ensure that cotter pins are in place, wheels are working properly, and all fittings and chains are greased. It is important that the square tubing guide poles are in good condition and sprayed with enough graphite to allow smooth travel. Look out for any exposed or broken electrical wires. Make sure that the controls have guards in place and that the buggy motor operates correctly while the power is on by checking the vertical and horizontal movement. Confirm that the floors are not rusted. Check that the yo-yo is working by tugging on it. If there is a deficiency identified in the inspection process, get it repaired or rectified before proceeding with the operation of the buggy. If the buggy passes the daily inspection, then it can be lifted onto the shell by an authorized crane operator. When placing the buggy onto an incomplete shell ring, make sure a roller stop has been installed at the halfway points of the last sheets. If the vert buggy is already on the shell at the time of inspection, ensure you perform visual checks on the outside for any damage by using your daily checklist. Once the inspection is complete, it is time to inspect your personal fall protection equipment. Check your harness and lanyard for any rips, tears, or burn holes through the webbing. Also check your D-rings and lanyard hooks for any cracks or deformities. If everything looks to be in good shape, put your harness on and ensure it fits correctly and is not loose. Now you are ready to use the buggy. Once in the buggy, always be alert to the possible hazards. Pinch points. Never rest your hand on the shell either behind or in front of the buggy rollers, as it could get pinched and cause a serious hand injury. Falling objects. Ensure warning signs are posted and barricades as well as tow boards are in place to prevent tools from falling. To reduce clutter and possible trip-slip fall hazards, only put the tools necessary for the work that will be performed during your shift into the buggy. Electrical and environmental hazards. Remove electrodes from holders when not in use. Do not work during thunderstorms or in high wind conditions which are 20 miles per hour or higher. Ensure no cables are in the way of the buggy travel as they could be pinched and shorted. Prior to beginning the work for the day, the operator must cycle the buggy. This means that the operator will run the buggy through its full cycle of operation. Raise the buggy on one side all the way to the top, and then cycle it all the way back down to the bottom to ensure no hang-ups and a smooth operation of the guide poles. Additionally, the operator will move the buggy in a horizontal travel, left and right, to ensure that the travel wheels are operating freely and that all of the controls up, down, right, and left are operating properly. As the buggy on one side of the shell rises, The buggy on the other side of the shell must lower an equal distance. There is a chain mechanism that controls the equal raising and lowering operation. It is not uncommon for the buggy on one side of the shell to get hung up on a key plate, U-bar, blank nut, or bullpin. If at any time you notice slack in the chain, this is a red flag indicator that the buggy on one side or the other side of the shell is hung up. When you realize that the buggy is hung up, investigate the situation to determine what is causing the buggy to hang up and on what side of the shell. Normally, raising the buggy on the other side of the shell will free it, and then moving the buggy in the horizontal direction a sufficient amount of travel will allow you to once again lower the buggy on the other side to miss that fitting gear obstruction. When raising the buggy on one side of the shell, the operator must also be watching the ladder of the buggy on the other side of the shell to ensure that it is moving an equal distance in the opposite direction. If the operation is continued without rectifying the problem, the buggy could free itself from the snag point and suddenly fall when it becomes free. This could cause serious injury to an operator, even though they will still be inside of the buggy. Climbing in the Vert Buggy and moving from one side of the shell to the other can be accomplished safely when you follow just a few safe operating procedures. First, 100% tie-off when climbing is essential. The Vert Buggy is outfitted with a tie-off post and a self-retracting lifeline, or yo-yo, so that you can be tied off at all times. To transition to the other basket, pull on the rope tied to the yo-yo, then attach the yo-yo to the D-ring on your harness. Once tied off to the yo-yo, you may then unhook your lanyard from the Vert Buggy. Never have anything in your hands when climbing the ladder. Maintain 3 points of contact while climbing and descending the ladder. This means when climbing, always have 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand, in contact with the ladder at all times to avoid a slip or fall when climbing in and around the buggy. After descending to the other basket, hook your lanyard to the buggy tie-off point. Then you can unhook the yo-yo from your D-ring. Hold onto the rope and slowly allow the yo-yo cable to recoil back into the yo-yo housing. Never allow the cable to recoil in an uncontrolled manner that could damage the spring and restraint mechanism of the self-retracting lifeline. When not in use, allow the lifeline to be slowly recoiled into the housing for protection so that when you need it, it is in excellent condition.
After watching this video, you will have been exposed to some of the best practices and standard operating procedures for operating the motorized Vert Buggy. Combining this video with actual on-the-job field training will provide you with the knowledge you need to operate the Vert Buggy safely. Safety starts with you, and accidents can only be prevented if you incorporate safe procedures into your daily work routine. Thank you for watching.